Yo, what's up gamers? Today I've brought you guys a really good AP Pyromancer skill focused build. And this build is not just good for clearing out ads and clearing expeditions really fast, but it's also really good for single target boss DPS. It's great all around for anything that you're doing in the game. Worldslayer just released a few days ago and I've been really enjoying it, to say the least. But yeah, let's just get into the build. Alright, so first off, this build will be revolving around the Heat Seeker set. This is a new set that just got introduced into the game here with Worldslayer, and I gotta say, I've been enjoying it a lot more than Akari. I know Akari is really good, but Heat Seeker's on another level. But what the Heat Seeker set does is, Heat Seeker, after successful detonation, thermal bomb will travel to the nearest target within a 25-meter radius that has the lowest HP. And thermal bomb applied this way will deal half the damage, and this can chain up to 3 times. Now basically what this means is that whenever we hit a target with our thermal bomb, and whenever they explode, they detonate, it will actually travel to a nearby target, whichever one is the lowest on health. And this will chain a lot of times, and this creates a lot of chain explosions for your thermal bomb, and it's a ton of fun, and it's also really good for boss damage too, because the explosions will do a ton of damage to all nearby enemies in the radius. But anyways, you're gonna want primarily anomaly power and cooldown reduction on your armor. I'd say like the best would be anomaly power, cooldown reduction, and probably status power. But anyways, the first mod I have on my helmet here is Thermal Reaction. Your next successful shot after using the skill will deal 220k damage and a 1.5 meter radius. Killing an enemy with your thermal bomb will grant you a 30% anomaly power bonus for 3 seconds. This is a really great mod. So basically, your second consecutive thermal bomb will deal additional damage and will have this small AoE effect that will hit multiple enemies within the radius, and this will also grant you a 30% anomaly power bonus, which is awesome. And we're pairing this with Big Boom thermal bomb, increasing explosion radius by 40%. This mod just got buffed here in Worldslayer. It used to be 20% back then, and now the fact that it gives you double the effect now, it's 40%. It's absolutely huge. It is very noticeable, and you will definitely notice it. That is a huge increase to the radius of your thermal bomb, and it just makes the ad clearing potential even better. Moving on to the chest piece, first mod it has is Fire Trap. Thermal bomb. Using this skill on a target that is marked or afflicted with burn will create another explosion, which will deal 240k damage within a 4-meter radius. So, Fire Trap is just like Thermal Reaction in a sense. So, it essentially gives us even more additional damage for our thermal bomb, as long as it's on a target that is marked by our skills or burning, which is awesome. And the second mod here I have is Power Assimilation. Boost your anomaly power by 31k for each elite present on the battlefield. Power Assimilation is one of the best mods in the game. It has always been that way, because what's so great about it is that it stacks multiplicatively. It doesn't matter how many elites there are on the battlefield, each and every single one of them will count. It is crazy. Like it really stacks, and it ramps up a lot of bonus anomaly power damage for doing absolutely nothing. And the last mod here, I got super lucky with this, by the way, but you're gonna want Captain Hunter. This will increase your damage against elites by 16%, Now this got a nerf, used to be 25%, but don't let that discourage you. It's still a very, very powerful mod, and it's still one of the best mods in the game. Because what makes it so good is that it includes all of your damage on elites. It's not just your weapon or your skill damage, it's all your damage, period. Your weapon, your skill damage, it doesn't matter. All your damage is increased against elites, which is amazing for damage. Moving on to the legs here. So the legs come with double fun. This basically just gives us 2 thermal bomb explosions instead of just 1, because usually whenever you use thermal bomb it can only target 1 enemy, but if you have double fun it will make it so that your thermal bomb will actually target 2 enemies whenever you use it. So it basically just doubles the clearing potential for this build, and it makes your thermal bomb even better for clearing out ads and stuff. Second mod here I have is Fire Frenzy. Thermal bomb. The skill can be activated one more time before triggering the cooldown. Another great mod here. What that does is we get 2 thermal bomb activations before it goes on cooldown, which results in more overall total damage of our thermal bomb in general. And the last mod here, also got lucky over on my boots here, but I got lucky enough to get frequent phaser. This build is gonna be using frequent phaser. It's actually gonna be the main source of single target damage for bosses. So really happy I got this to drop here. But anyways, I got frequent phaser beam, reduces the skill cooldown by 30%. So this will allow me to use my phaser beam back to back, have it up pretty much all the time for the most part. Anyways, moving on to the arms. Now my arms are not the best. I wish these were Apocalypse, because if these were Apocalypse I could have slotted on something like Fire Trap. That would have been great. What Fire Trap does is, here it is on the chest, not Fire Trap, excuse me, Branded. But what Branded does is Thermal Bomb. Enemies affected by the skill will receive 30% more damage. So if my arms were Apocalypse, I could have had Branded also in this build. And that's the one mod on this build that you will need that I don't have on my armor, because RNG sucks. But yeah, Branded is the one mod that I wish I had on my arms or my boots, because my boots also aren't Apocalypse. But the first mod I have of them is Pure Power. Phaser Beam increases the skill damage by 106k. This is great. This is increases the damage of our Phaser Beam. And second mod here I have is True Blast. Increase the explosion damage by our Thermal Bomb by 306k. Same thing here. Increased damage is always great. Just makes our Thermal Bomb and our Phaser Beam do a lot more damage overall. Moving on to the last piece of armor for the build, we have Burning Passion. There's a 30% chance to reapply every status the skill consumes on an effective enemy. So whenever we apply burn with our Thermal Bomb or Phaser Beam and we use our overheat immediately after, there will be a small chance to reapply that burn. So it just allows us to have a little bit more uptime on our burn status effect. So we can just do it just gives us a little bit of extra damage basically. And I'm pairing this with Anomaly Echo, great mod here. It will grant us a 62k firepower and 60k anomaly power bonus on skill activation for 6 seconds. Now obviously all of these bonuses and stuff do scale off of your armor level and stuff, so the numbers will vary, but essentially this is great because this will allow our weapons and our skills to do a ton of damage respectively whenever we use any skill. So, and we're always going to have our skills up with this build. Okay, moving on to weapons. The only true weapon you really need for this build is Final Penance. Really good. Legendary weapon, the mod it comes with is Mage's Rage. Critical shots grant a 10% anomaly power bonus for 15 seconds, and this stacks up to 4 times. This is actually one of the best mods in the game now, just recently introduced into the game. So basically, whenever you hit 4 crits, that's a 40% anomaly damage bonus, which is massive, you guys. That is absolutely massive. You cannot pass up on that. That is nuts for skill damage. And the secondary mod here I've decided to pair with it is Death Throne. When 2 of your equipped skills are on cooldown, receive a 82k fire partner bonus. Otherwise, you will receive a 75k bonus for your anomaly power. So, to make it short, whenever we have at least 2 of our skills on cooldown, we're getting a weapon damage bonus for our final penance here. So that way we can still dish out a good amount of damage even when our skills are on cooldown, or vice versa. Whenever we only have 1 skill on cooldown or there's absolutely no skills on cooldown, it's basically just gonna significantly increase our anomaly power, which means that our next skill is gonna do a ton of damage. Like for example, our thermal bomb is gonna do a ton of damage on activation. But yeah, that's it for the weapons and the armor mods you're gonna need. Now I'm gonna jump into the class skill tree here. Alright, so for the class skill tree, you're gonna want to go bottom tree Tempest. It is by far, at least in my opinion, the most effective for thermal bomb, heat seeker build. Just doing as much damage with your explosive skills and your cooldown reduction. First one I have here is Magnum Golem. This one actually doesn't really matter too much in the grand scheme of things. Only reason I have that is just so that I can progress over here to warm up. Now this is an important one, and you do need this. Reduce ignite skills cooldown by 15%. This is so that our phase beam will come back just a little bit quicker, and we'll have it up more often, so we can just spam our phase beam much more. Alright, here we're going into the bottom part. I have 5 nodes of Archmage for a 50% increase to our anomaly power, which is insane. And I also happen to have 2 Marks Accumulation, and what this does is it will increase our damage of our skills by 16% against marked enemies, so that all of our skills will do a bonus damage so long as the enemies that we hit with them are marked by any of our skills. Another one we have here is World Ablaze. Reduce the cooldown of your explosive skills by 15%. Really good. This is going to allow us to spam our thermal bombs and our overheat way more often, and yeah, more uptime. Okay, the first main one we have here is with fire and rifle. Activating explosive skills will increase your weapon damage by 35% for 10 seconds. And because like I said, we're always going to have our skills up, so this bonus is always going to be up. So whenever we activate explosive skills, we're getting a nice weapon damage bonus, so that way we can have some additional damage. But I'm also pairing this with fire and anomaly, and this is essentially like the same thing, but it's for your skill damage. But anyways, what this does is activating your explosive skills will increase your anomaly power by 12% for 10 seconds. This isn't as huge as the first one, but trust me, it works great, especially because we're going to be pairing with our anomaly echo, like I said earlier, and it does stack with it. So yeah, that's going to stack with anomaly echo, and that's going to give us a ton of skill damage bonus just for simply activating one of our skills, which is very nice. Alright, here I have Unquenchable for some added survivability. It will increase our skill leech by 6%. This is just going to help us survive more, because this build, it is kind of like a high risk, high reward kind of a build. You do a ton of damage, but you are a little bit more on the squishier side, so keep that in mind. Alright, and here I have conflagration for increased resistance piercing, so that whenever enemies become resistant, because we're spamming our abilities so much, which that's going to be pretty often, trust me, we will be able to break their resistance so that our skills will be able to affect them and deal more damage all the time. And here we have flames that burn twice. Increase your damage against elites by 10%. Really powerful. Again, this is just like Captain Hunter. It doesn't matter what type source of damage it is, skills, weapons, all of your damage increased against elites. And it's really nice how it stacks with Captain Hunter. Second to last one, note here we have Road Ablaze. Reduce explosive skills cooldown by 15%. So we're double dipping with this one. We have two of those. So we have an overall base reduction of our explosive skills cooldown by 30%, which is awesome. So we will have even more uptime on our thermal bomb and overheat. And the last note here is Grave Ablaze. Increase explosive skills damage by 30%. This is going to increase the damage of our thermal bomb and our overheat. And yeah, just a lot more damage. Alright, now I'm going to get into the Pax Tree. Now, this was just introduced in Worldslayer. It's very good tree. It's basically sort of like an over-leveling tree, so to speak. But anyways, we're going bottom tree here, Pyromaniac, because I felt that personally Pyromaniac benefited this build the most, because it gives you so many benefits as far as your skill, damage for your explosive skills. So yeah. Anyways, the first node here is Melting Point. Increase your resistance piercing by 15% when above 80% health, and 30% whenever you're below 40% of your HP. This is great because, like I said, resistance piercing is very important for this build, because you're gonna want it so that whenever enemies do become resistant because of spamming our abilities, you'll be able to break that and continue doing a ton of damage to them. And here we're going down into Master Exploder. Explosive skill damage is increased by 100% or resistance piercing. This is amazing because our resistance piercing is going to be so high because we have so many things in this build. Scaling on our resistance piercing, giving us additional piercing. So our explosive skills are going to get a great bonus to their damage. And here we have Convection. Reduce all of our skill cooldowns by 4%, or excuse me, 4 seconds. When all skills are on cooldown, this has a 3-second cooldown. This is one of the best Pax Tree points in the game. It is very powerful. You will definitely see its effects when you're using your skills. Is great, very powerful. So basically what it means is whenever you use all of your skills, so you have absolutely no skills up, 0, you will basically get one entire skill back immediately. And it has a short cooldown too. And here we have Backdraft. Your annulling power is increased by 30% for every skill that's on cooldown. Pairs hand in hand with Convection here. So the more skills we have on cooldown, that's the more skill damage bonus we receive, and we will get an entire skill back. So we always have a skill up. Always. And the last Pax point here you're going to want is Trigger Sequence. Activating an explosive skill will increase the damage of the next explosive skill by 25%. Now, and this stacks 3 times up to 75%, which is substantial, and this is very powerful, very, very powerful, because this buff does not deteriorate over time. It will always be up. So if we use our thermal bomb or overheat, it will increase the damage of the next skill by 25% up to 75% once you do 3 times of using that said skill. Alright, last part here, Ascension Points. Now, Ascension Points, ideally, you are going to want 10 anomaly power, 10 status power, 10 anomaly damage, 10 skill leech, 10 resistance piercing to break their resistances, and finally 10 cooldown reduction. Now, as you can see, I haven't grinded out my Ascension Points that much. Still got some grinding left to do, but obviously if you guys have more points, you can spec it to whatever else you want, but those are just the 6 that you absolutely need to get the most out of this build. But yeah, that's practically it as far as the build here today, you guys. If you guys enjoyed this build guide, please like this video, comment down below any other build suggestions you want. You want me to make a weapon power version of the Pyromancer, or do you want me to cover other classes? And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I would very well appreciate that. It took me a long time to make this build, so yeah. But anyways, for the rest of this video, it's just gonna be some gameplay footage to show you guys this build in action, show you how powerful it is, and yeah, enjoy the gameplay footage, and see you guys later.
Just cleared a courtyard with one of those wishing wells in there.
Great. Do you see a way to defend?
Sure. Let me just grab it. Wants to see you level this place faster. wasn't the only one with this idea. Pax Mission accomplished, folks.
Priorities, please. We're looking for artifacts of unrivaled historical merit.
Wonder what the vintage is on these.
If the Pax were last making alcohol when that bastard Roy showed up, it's...
Guys, I take it back. This is the treasure. Underground wellspring place. I like it.
Outrider detected. Access granted.
Wish I was sharing a bottle with you.